For our listening and grooving and viewing pleasure. A little chillin', a little bit of music, and some cool stuff. Show's about to start. It's 29 after. I figured this would be good. Well, I was working on the farm one day, and the old lady came over and she sat down beside me. And she wanted to know why I've been so busy. And I haven't been around much for all that loving. And I said, well, honey, I'm around. Don't you worry, I'll make time for you this evening. Johnny Bravo was wondering where Barry White's is. Barry White. It's Barry White. Coming to you from Long Island. Yeehaw! And that was when my little baby, she turned to me and she said, I got loving on my mind. Ooh, that was a nice, the Bonanza Ace. I'll take that. Yeah, no, it hasn't been that warm up here. It's a nice little Bronco. Well, that would be cool. It'd be nice to make one. Yeah, they're nice. Oh, that one's got a soft tail, kind of. Soft seat. Yeah, I had a cat just like that. It was just a frame and I put a different motor on it. I also had a Rupp. I don't think there's any Rupps in here, though. I sat and I watched it, but I didn't see any. Oh, there's a Takumi engine on the bottom one. The Cyclops has got one headlight. That's kind of neat, this one here. Discoverer. It's kind of made like a snapper mini bike. That's a nice clutch system. Transfer, transmission, whatever it is. It's the Comet 3. That was nice. Yeah, I like those. That's a weird one. I wonder how well it worked. Ah, the Elgato. That's a cool motor. It's a two-stroke probably. What does it say? I can read it. Nice big seat on that one. That one's got a transmission and everything. The Flea. Cheap price, too. It was a cheap bike. $59.50. I've seen the doodle bugs. The duty bugs. There's another fox. $99 less motor. You know what they go for now? Some of these things, they got very expensive. Well, like everything got expensive. find these old, well, the new ones they sell, but they're a lot of money too. That's kind of ugly looking. I know, right? Now Alice goes, where did the 1970s go when mini bikes ruled? Because we were allowed to drive them, They didn't have all these laws and rules. And hey, Brett. Yeah, check out this website, allaboutminibikes.com. Oh, here's Elizabeth. She's doing good. Oh, nice! I got that! You made a whole shot! That's awesome! You actually did more than I did! It's got ball! That was a fun. I still haven't finished that release of that project yet.
Warning. Archer's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Nice. Yeah, don't listen to him. He's always fooling around. Let's see. Here's V. She goes, she's asking my daughter a question. What's up, everybody? What are you guys doing? Yeah, I think we had like more people watching before I started the mini bike thing and fooling around with the country crap. I think people get upset over stuff real quick. They get bored. They're like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch this. I don't want to know. Brett says meow. Brett, you get your new cat in yet? Yeah, they're trying. We were going to try to cut the nails of my new cat, but my daughter, my ex-wife's friend was going to come over with her nail cutter because she's got tons of cats. So, but my daughter didn't want to stick around. I have to go. It's your cat. I have to go to the gym, Let's see. Robert says, so let's see. He says she's here but hiding. So Henry says hello. Joshua says, what's up? He goes, the weather sucks there in Ohio as well. Yeah, it's all over the place. Bravo goes, I was wondering if we were on Barry White's page. Alice, it's been 80s all week because you're down there in Bamer, Alabama. All of those mini bikes from back in the day. Alice goes, where did the 1970s go when mini bikes ruled the road? Yeah, like I said, excuse me, I'm snacking on some kind of cake. My ex-wife's friend brought over some kind of crazy cake and some other stuff and kind of chewing on that. Brett T. Malice goes, had to replace the fuel line in my Echo HC152 hedge clippers. Yeah, of course. It's probably been hanging out for a long time. I like the Echo stuff. It's pretty decent. It's like some of the newest stuff is crap. Like everything else, When you start selling it to the big box stores, like John Deere, it's the same thing. You start selling it to the big box stores, you buy it from there, you're done. I got to get mine fired up, my hedge trimmers. Waiting on nasty weather to hit us this evening. They say it could be fugly, but they always say that, Bravo says. Yeah, that's what I mean. The weather's been terrible. And I think it was Ken said something today. He was going to try to get out there. I was watching a show, and he's like, I got to get out there now. I'm going to stop a little early. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm in here, and I could see on the windows, it started to pour. So he's not that far from me. So I don't know. Maybe he got a little bit more time out of it. Now it's because waiting on my high-intensity discharge lights from eBay. Yeah, you were mentioning that you lost some kind of kid or whatever. That's on my list, too. So coming up, I'll go through some of it in a little bit. So coming up, before it gets hot, this ceiling fan does not work. It hasn't worked in years. It's filthy. The other ceiling fan was intermittently working, but does work. It's filthy. And that area in the back over there, towards the back doors, that's always dark. There's just not enough light. So I have, like some of the other fixtures you've seen in here, the big ones are the one that I did a couple of years ago, whatever it was. I converted it to LEDs. And I have enough LEDs, to do another conversion. That's a lot of what I was doing, though. I was adding light fixtures in a basement project this winter. I want to get up there, and it's going to get hot, and I don't want to be up there in the heat, but the hose is working. Since this stuff is all so filthy, a little bit of super clean, and it's so bad. I mean, I'll probably show some of it on a live stream because it is really bad. And then I can mount that nice big fixture after I convert it and test it. I have some extra chain. I bought chain. I didn't need it. I found it when I did the basement cleanup. It's like, I think you guys were talking about that today, and Ken was teasing you, Robert. Like, yeah, you didn't know where it was. Yeah, you got to clean up. You'll find it when you don't need it, after the new stuff comes in. Yeah, I can't afford that. I don't want to be in that place anymore where you're so disorganized. That's why you saw a lot of the cleanup outside. I got some more stuff to show you guys today of that, and some other things too that I got going on. Get your crap together. That way, you know where your crap is, and when you need it quick because you want to use it then and now, you know where it is. And what I was doing the other day was that yesterday, it rained in the morning, and I saw on the weather reports pretty much like all weekend into like next week. But it got warmer. It was like almost 70 degrees yesterday, and I was kind of shot. Like, my body gets depressed. I don't really get depressed, but my body just gets, with the diabetes and everything, I just get tired. And I do a lot, so I burn a lot of energy. I'm like, you got to get up. You got to get up, bro. Get out there and do something. So I started arranging and organizing, and I'll show you that. I got about 12 machines. I got some cool old stuff. So I want to show you something. Big Mike and Contractor Mike dropped off. And I got it kind of all out. And I kind of finished cleaning up in the back and did my, spring kind of clean up and everything around. Started staging it. And I'm like, all right, good. By the end of the day, I was like, I know what I need to clean. I know what I need to do. Let's go take a look at the pressure washer. So today I was trying to fix my sister's pressure washer that I never did release that video. And this is going to be interesting because it got locked. And the question is why? And that's going to be the video. Why? What is it? What doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. So that's going to be that video. I think that'll be interesting. And it's just a nice machine that I put together. And I'm like, it's most of this stuff. And I also did a video. I shot a video on trying to fix that little two-stroke Craftsman rototiller. I'm done with two strokes. Once again, and it's not just the two-stroke. It's the people, and especially the consumer two-stroke stuff, and the consumer with the consumer two-stroke stuff. I mean, the consumer will kill contractor stuff, but they surely kill this, the consumer grade two-stroke stuff. And this was an older Tecumseh powered, it's a Tecumseh engine two-stroke, and they're more robust, but there's a design flaw in it, and it got killed. So eventually I'll release that video. I did one last year on a customer that put too much oil thinking he was helping himself. And it just kills the machine. You can't put too much oil into your two-stroke and expect it to survive. Conversely, if you don't put enough, you have to get the mixture right. And I heard a little bit about that today. I think Ken said he was using like 41, somewhere in there with a decent oil and fresh. And keep it clean and don't let it overheat. And when it starts to foul up, you bring it to a mechanic. If you can't do it yourself, oh my God. Nobody wants to use a mechanic anymore. That's the other thing. Again, that's not my fault or us mechanics' fault or even a machine fault. That's the consumer. As I said, the homeowner, right? The consumer. I'm so done. Let's see what we get to next. Robert goes, I love the Hunter ceiling fans. I don't know what they are. I have a whole bunch of them. I started collecting them. TJ brought one over for me. Big Mike, what does Big Mike say? A couple other people brought some over. I found some. So I have fans now. And when I was doing a basement project, I took the blades off because nobody knows how to treat them. And they were bending. I'm like, no, you can't have them bent. They won't fly right. So I took them apart and I put them on a shelf and I nestled them away. And there was stuff all over the place. So now when I go to do that, right, I can clean off what I have, see if what's wrong with it. Maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe it's just so filthy it won't run. You see what Big Mike said. And then I can do that, and I got the lights that are burning out in the garage. I got to get up there and do that. So that's got to happen. Yep. Bring it to Uncle Arch. Yeah, bring it to Uncle Arch. Bring it to Uncle Arch. Just bring it to me. All right? You know, it's because I just saw Taro's short video on why John Deere mower's powered coating is flaking off. Oh, I'd like to check that out. See, that's what I mean. This stuff is just... it's turned to crap, and it doesn't leave us much room because the older stuff, some of this older stuff, as good as it is, as I showed you, when it gets left out, it turns to crap. So I wanted to show you something real quick, mostly just some pictures. So Ken texts me, and he's like, we got to get some kind of protective covering or shed or something. Well, I've got my shed packed, and I showed you guys last year I did like a lot of the shelving. I added shelving. But anyway, there's tons of videos out there in that space of building sheds or making your shed and your garage and your storage area a little bit more useful. And I should probably put out a video or something like that. I just did it for the live stream, but the formatting is different than the way I did mine. But coming down to it, sooner or later, if you don't organize your stuff, you're just going to be stepping on it and you're going to be ruining it. Let me switch over to... what I used to have. Let's see. Let me see here. Let me bring it up. I did stage some of this stuff. Yeah, here we go. This is old. Geez, I don't even know when. My daughter was young. You'll see a picture of her. Hold on. Let me set it up. Just do it on this monitor here. That's the last one. Let's zoom it in. There's my little daughter. That was a different straw. I don't remember if that was her straw. There's the Honda. That's the other Honda. Right? But yeah, she's short. She was young. So I bought this from the UPS guy for $50. This is years and years ago. And it's not bad, right? It's big. It's bigger than the shed, so it's almost twice the length of it. So you could put a car in there and everything. And I had a lot of it. Sits kind of mostly on a patio, but it's half hanging off. And there's the shed not that long after I built it. So it was still in really good shape. Back of the shop. I got to go over the shed again. So the problem with this is, let me see. You can't really get a shot of it, but is there a shot back there? Yeah, kind of here. This shot might do it. So there's acres and acres and acres of open land. It's cemetery and lake. And we're not far from the water, right? The bay and the ocean. So the problem is the wind constantly back there. It just was tearing at this thing and pushing on it and tearing on it. And then when it snows, there isn't enough support in the middle. And I tried supporting it with some rope and whatever. It's not enough. And then it rains, and then it gets real heavy, and then it turns to ice, and then the wind pounds it. This thing did not last. And then it's down on top of all of the stuff you've thrown in there. So it was a waste. I had to just throw it out. It just maybe lasted a year and a half or something like that. Maybe not even 2 years. Maybe I got through a season. The first season I tried. If you don't go out there and try to get the snow off, then it will just destroy itself. And, you could miss that quick. You can get busy, have to go to work, come back home, the wind's been blowing and, something like that. You come back and it's torn, it's ripped. And it doesn't take much after it gets torn and ripped. Let me come back. So that's the problem with something like that. And I have another one. So Juan, he was clearing out a property. And the lady was like, do you want it? Just take it. Maybe you can give it away. We used it once. So it looks like everything is there. And it's in beautiful shape. It's the same thing. So I'm like, well, thank you. I'll take it. Maybe I could use the vinyl or something. What I wound up doing was I took what was left over, and you see that like blue, and some of you guys may remember, but that blue horror area next to my shed that just about ruined my shed. It's the top from that roof. It's the roof section, which I modified, and I took the whole top and I put it this way, basically, up against the shed. Now, the shed doesn't have enough of an overhang. It's underneath the trees. And a lot of junk got stuck in there, and then it was starting to rot the siding of the shed, and it's a nightmare, right? That was not a bad idea, but the execution wasn't great. I was just trying to see what I could do, what might work. It doesn't work. The execution isn't correct, but the concept was not bad. So you take the whole top, which is like a V, right? Standard roof, and you just kind of cock it like that, and then you shove it up underneath the eave. But like I said, the shed didn't have like a big eave. It needed something like the back of my garage. Now, the back of my garage might work out if I took the roof line and laid it underneath and then changed the angle differently. So the problem is that one is a V. So is that if you just had this angle here, that would be different, because then you could tuck it up underneath. But because it's a V, it rolls back towards whatever building you're attaching it to. That's no good. So with enough pipe and everything, I'm like, well, what if next time maybe I'll put it up underneath the garage, behind the garage, and I'll modify the roof line so that it's just a longer, like this one side like this, and then I'll use maybe some of the wall, if not all of the wall. I got to see how she lays. I can adjust the wall height, and then I'll tie it into the building. And then when the vinyl, wears out, then I'll come back in with, I'll go get some of the fiberglass panels or something. I might do the same thing for the shed version of it. Now the shed, what's been out there, those pipes are rusty and they're kind of beat, and so it might just get ripped down. It's there for now. But this stuff is all clean and it's outside. It's been sitting out for about a year. So I'm like, well, I got to do something with it. So I think that's going to be a project coming up when I have time, when the weather allows. And then I could just kind of make the frame the way I want it, put extra like ribbing and supports in, and I'll figure something out and just, tack weld it so that it's strong and mount it properly so that the wind can't get at it. And then the other thought I had is that Big Mike gave me some really nice thick rubber, which I showed a little while back. And I'm like, well, I was going to make like the curtain between the two buildings. And then I was thinking, well, he said to me, why don't you throw it down on the ground back by where you like to clean stuff, where the tables are and whatever. I'm thinking, you know what? No, maybe actually a good idea would be is if I make this well enough, I can put that down on the ground and essentially, rolling everything onto rubber. It'll isolate the ground. You're not going to get a lot of moisture coming up from the ground. I don't have to put rock. And I think overall, could even make a door out of it if I have enough left over. Nothing has to be great, but it's like free. And then I can shove my plastic shells, because I think my friend Jeff gave me all of these nice plastic stackable shells, which you see in different areas. I can put them all in one place and put the gear out there. A lot of it it can be outside. It just shouldn't be in here in paper boxes or whatever. Shove it all in there, and now I've got a spot. And then the door to get into it would be literally as I walk out of the back of the shop, I'll make some kind of a door or something over there. And without throwing anything away, I get to use some materials, have some fun, make something a little bit custom, more storage space. And if I do a decent enough job, So that I want to try to do this year, because like Ken said, we need to protect our junk. Because it's getting ruined. Like, it's already beat up from people leaving it out. We're leaving it out now. It's been used. It's used stuff. People have beat up on it, but it's, to us, it's worth saving. And then even some of the customer overflow jobs or whatever projects that I'm working on. If there's enough room in there, I don't want it in my garage. And like this time of year with the weather, if you're middle of working on something and then you have to shove it out of your shop, where am I going to put it? Outside, where it's going to get rained on, the dirt's going to get into it? which is what happens. Mel says, he goes, Archie's pee lady, she shed. Yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely. Where's TJ? I wanted to show him something. You know what? Here, wait. Let me roll the TJ video. I did a video, even if he's not here. He might be busy. But he can watch it tomorrow, right? So let me cue that up. So I made a video on this snowblower because I did a video on his snowblower. I was the one where I did the high-speed camera and I slowed everything down so you could see the belts, and I talk about dual belts suck, and they suck because on some of these cheaper not the cheesy manufacturers, but the cheaper manufacturers, they don't put enough belt guides in, and because they don't do that, even if a belt breaks, but usually they wobble, they stretch and they wobble, and when one wobbles without a belt guide, it finds its way off and then under the good belt and jams everything up, and then both belts are done, or one or both are broken. But either way, you're out in the middle of the yard or property or somebody's job or whatever, and now your machine's stuck out there because the auger doesn't spray, right? Won't turn. Whereas the better ones that I've seen, even just those bolts with the big long shank, I've seen essentially driven into a nut. And they ride close, especially on the bottom of the pulley, and they keep the belts on. But a lot of these machines, these dual belt machines, are like, oh, put a dual belt on it. People, I think sometimes lately, some people have been saying stuff. There was one fella, he was complaining. He couldn't understand what I was doing on Big Mike's Sunstar. With the wiring and the PTO. I don't think you ever got it working. You didn't show it work. I showed it all. What are you? I'm like, bro, what are you watching this on like a phone? Is this what you're watching it on? I'm like, why don't you try something a little bit bigger? And I'm like, are you like skating through it? Fast forwarding through it? Because if you're doing that and you're watching it on this, I can't help you. And I'm like, and he commented on every one. I do this stuff and I don't know if you're doing it right. I don't think you're doing it right. I'm like, bro, I don't know what to tell you, but I've dedicated lots of time to the videos. So if you don't understand it from the video, there's nothing that I'm going to be able to write in a little text window that can change your mind to help you. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I see this a lot. Like, they don't get the point. Even if you say it over and over again, it's like deer in headlights. What's Big Mike saying? He goes, PTO, Big Mike goes, PTO works great. Yeah, it works fine. And I even said it, I'm like, because on the Sunstars, they have a control module that basically handles like a lot of the logic. He goes, oil, not so much. Yeah, he's got to fix that oil gauge thing. It leaked and popped off, and the little fellow broke on a little copper tube, and it sprayed everywhere. That's happened to us. Right? I don't know if you guys go back to any hot rod and whatever, you put an oil gauge in your car. And the worst ones with the vinyl nylon tubes, and they would break. And usually, like, you put the gauge near where you can see it. So when it breaks, it pees oil all over your feet, all over your leg, up your crotch, into your face. You're like, whoa, what's going on? You're trying to drive down the road and high pressure oil spraying out. Shangri-La goes, nah, the weather is beautiful. Yeah, maybe where you are, but it's going to be just absolutely crap for the rest of the week. So now, because of that, I can't finish what I want to do. I just can't do it. Let me show you guys that real quick. We'll get to the other stuff. I can't get to this stuff. I laid out everything nice. At least I laid it out. So now I know, because I do want to spend some time with it, but now I'll know what I need once I pull it apart and clean it, but I'll know what I really need. All right, so I got my headset on. Just kind of scroll through it real quick. Make sure the audio is on. Now, here's the lineup. I built this last year for my sister. So that's the one. A couple of different motors, a different pump I picked up. Why? A frame I had, but it died right away. It's locked up. Most likely to pump. I can't see how this motor would lock up. We're going to look at that in a minute.
Next. It's going to be a little shaky whenever it's unedited.
So we got a motor there. We got a motor there. I'll get these cleaned up. This is mine, or should be. This is the one that's missing the carburetor and the muffler. So it might be a questionable motor. It is a 6.5, as if that means anything. I'm going to go find it a bag. This has got a Honda on it.
I found that
which
one.
Which is crap. It's all beat up. So we could put maybe that motor on it. I have a bag for it. And that bag fits, I think it fits this one too. Which this is nice. We definitely want a bag on this. This is in pretty good shape. High wheel. Wheels are in really good shape. The motor is questionable, but we have other motors.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's Briggs.
And this is the one that leaks like a sieve. I want to see if I can find a bag for that.
I can see what cables I
and
need.
We could put a Briggs motor on
I need
too,
to order
but
plugs.
let's just see.
And carburetors.
Dig around for a little while and kind of put together a bunch of kits, and kind of get everything sort of splayed out and get ready for washing here.
Yeah, a guy needs a bunch of things, some cables. Now, on some of these older ones, fellas, the cables are longer. On some of these, the cable, see, this one here. Here, let me, well, no, hold on. Is it this one? Yeah, maybe. Well, on some of the Briggs variants, see, generally speaking, the Tecumsehs, they come from when you're standing over the machine, the cable comes from the right and goes up the right side. Now, we don't do that anymore. We go from the left side, up the left side. And I've seen it where, like on the Briggs, here, let me see if I can show you this.
So it might be a questionable motor. It is a 6.5. I'm going to go find it a bag on it.
Yeah, here, see.
Which is crap. It's all beat up. We could put on it.
Where's this one?
I have a bag for it. And that bag fits, I think it fits this one too.
Yeah, this one here. Oh, I screwed it up. Hold on.
It's all beat up. Maybe that motor
I want to click pause. Let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, see? So a lot of these, on the older ones, what they would do is this one comes up on the left. But a lot of the older ones with the Briggs, they would come from the left because that's where it is. But then it would cross over to the right and come up. Now, that cable sheath is much longer, and they're a little harder to find, and they're more money. So they just kind of figured out how to do it without and save money at the same time, which kind of makes sense, but it's a different cable. So you have to order that. Oh, Kitty's nails are done. Oh, they're working on the Kitty's nails. Oh. Yeah, they're trying to cut the nails. It didn't work out. I got scratched good right on my vein. Let's go to the next one. It's messy, I know, but we packed a lot
here that I could get to and try out. There's the Bob Vila bag.
Yeah, Bob Vila's bag. Told you.
So I might want to maybe poke around in here, but I want to go take a look outside as well. These are cleaner bags and just random assortment. A lot of Toro, some Craftsman. I want to grab that black Craftsman and see if it fits the machine that I want to keep.
Now that's bag. Most of these are
okay, tossed.
They're all
bag
old.
Collection.
They
Let me
don't
get that
really
long
fit
boy bag cleaned up. Let me go through this too.
a lot of machines.
And just see what I turn up.
It's crazy because over the years they just kept making different bags.
What's in here.
So nothing fits. So you wind up with tons of bags, and you're like, let's play the bag game now. Here's what Mike left me.
All right, set up for tomorrow.
I got a little bit more on
Mike's.
Mike's.
Supposed to rain for the
Just take
next
a quick
week.
look there.
So we got a motor just in case there's something wrong with that guy. Shaft's probably the same. Contractor might drop this off. They usually crap, but I figured while it's here, we'll rinse it off and see. Although, just tripped. Although these, 198.75s are a little bit bigger. That's like the other one I showed over the weekend. It's back there somewhere. Could prove useful. Basically the same thing it's on the Time Masters, except for, like Brett says, the shaft might be different. But again, we pick them for parts. We got our motors and blades ready for cleaning.
So I found
That looks better.
22-inch push bag. Must have been for this or something.
I put the
It's
better
nice.
wheels
Look
on
at
it.
this thing going. This is the leaker. So this we're going to focus on. This is mine, and this is where I said I'd put the Bob Vila bag on it. All right. It was basically the same thing, but the one that I threw out was crap.
And black.
This one I dug out. I found a bag. Briggs motor. This is the Honda. This is crap, but I found a bag. Well, I had a bag for one of them. We may use this for parts, so we'll clean that off. I don't think this has a bag, but it also doesn't have a motor.
But it's got the high
What I do
wheel with
like
the nice
about it
tires.
is, if we put a motor on it, we'll grab that bag, because this is the high wheel. And even though it needs a little bit of paint work, it's a little bit more viable. I think it's a little bit more worthy.
No rot throughs.
Let's see here. Now this guy could prove useful as a motor or whatever. It is missing the linkage that goes from here to here. These were real cheesy fellas. They always bent. But I kind of have this guy. And if you look, it might be perfect for it. So we're going to let that kick around. And it's not absolutely necessary right now. And then these are thicker rods from some extra pieces. So we could make up something, but try that out. All right, we gotta wait for the weather. Tomorrow is another day.
Yeah, which is
wait,
which is
got
today.
one more thing.
And it's raining.
All right, contractor Mike dropped off this SUTEC Stealth Commercial Series. Needs a bunch of work. Belt looks like it needs an idler over here or some bushing. Hold on, let me move this. Yeah, see, this is all wobbly back there. So that's one of, and then this broke. So, but it starts, it runs.
Yeah, hold on. Mike just said something. She was not happy, Tina said. Yeah, I bet. She got her nails cut. Oh, that's funny. Big Mike goes, let's turn that edger into a stump grinder. By the way, if you look down, I was showing you that idler. See, Johnny, I wish I had a lathe because it's how wobbly it is. And turns out Mike gave me a box with some parts or whatever that came with this machine when he bought it. And in there is yet another used piece like that.
But it starts,
so
it
the
runs.
problem, I
nice
guess,
bag set up for it.
my guess is that they tried to fix the problem. They put something on, something else is worn, or it wore right away. This could be a flaw or whatever. But, if I had a lathe, I could turn a bushing and turn a stud.
Probably push this out of the way. So we're going to kind of push this to the side. I got to go find another spot for this. That'll be tomorrow or whenever. I'm just going to have to wait for tomorrow and the weekend or next week and see what the weather brings.
Now, let me show you. Is it this guy? No. Is it that one? No. Yeah. It started working on this thing. Same day. Let's see. I brought it out. I could not get it started, Mike. I did kind of get it started. It's weak. All right, now the sickle drive works, but that cable down there, right, that's for the chain drive. I started taking it apart.
So that's not working. But we're okay overall. You can see the chain, as you saw, you'll see it better out here. It's pretty rusty in there, but it's moving. The cable over here basically works, but it's sticky. I think that's fast as, this might be choke. So it's cold. It's ice cold. And let's give it a shot.
Look at that thing turn in the front.
That's sticky as hell, huh?
Uh-oh. Oh!
Yeah, she's sticky. He got it running. Yeah, like I said, it's got to come apart.
I'm being cursed!
But it should start. Let's, instead of pulling, let's pull that off and prime it.
Yeah, let's pull that off and prime it.
Here's some two-stroke. Yeah, the choke is on, fellas. Haven't these in a while.
Pull, pull, pull.
Yeah, I guess I can't. He got it to run.
Nope, don't want to run no more.
Let's do. Yep. That might clear it. Fill switch here. Switch.
Let's try it again. I'm spraying stuff in it. Hot shot. Plug's wet.
Let's let it focus. Plug is wet. And definitely
Like my
carbon foul.
underwear.
I'll go clean out. Yeah, she's soaking wet.
Like her underwear.
I wonder if it's just not sparking. Well, it should be. No, that's all loose. Those bushings are done. All right, we'll get to it. Let me see. All right.
That's better.
That should be good enough. It is older. There we go.
She's weak.
Let it warm up.
She's weak.
I love the way they sound. Yeah, hear her puffing? She can't really get out RPM. Struggling. I screwed up. Watch. All right, she's coming up a little bit.
There it comes.
I went to go reach for the camera. That's funny, Brett. Oh, no, no, no!
Oh, the fuel just went into the carburetor.
Oh.
But you get the idea. You see? Yeah, we have to put something there. Let me put something there. I went to go for
Yeah.
the camera.
Yeah. All right, I'm coming back. But I started going through it. Is she pretty? Yeah, here's some shots. I think it's a shot. That's a nice shot. Trailblazer. Sickle bar mower. Do I show the sickle bar? I might. I took it off. Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, here it is.
I just put a little bit of my magic sauce on. It slid right out. This was up there underneath, but it's not correct. Somebody's been in it, but this is in beautiful shape, fellas. Just beautiful shape. I know it's a little windy out here, but it's all right. Serrations are good. We'll just clean it up and lube it.
Yeah, a little quick clean,
You know,
oil
get a good
wheel,
wash
over and some
and-
lube.
Get the crust and the mung off of it, and just lube it. See some areas in here, you see there's a little bit of rust, but a little wire brush, a little this, a little kiss and love.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. He needs a brush mower. All right, I'm coming back. He needs something to clear the perimeter areas for his place, his property. Let me see what you guys are saying. Brett said he didn't bother with the stream today. I love Hunter ceiling fans. Arch's Pete Lady. Sean goes, the weather is beautiful. Yeah, not here. Malice goes, look at that Snapper 33-inch high-vac mower standing at attention. Yes. Yep. We got to get that out. I got a little bit more work to do. Brett's like, did Christopher Columbus bring that over on the Mayflower? I love the old machines. They're awesome. So he needs something like that. Big Mike needs something like that to clear the perimeters and other areas to recover more property, you know. It's like when I moved in here, you couldn't get to the back. That's all been dug up. I backhoed it and whatever. Everything was growing from the fence all the way in the back, all the way through. It was way over your head. It was up over the building. One of the trees that was over there had to be pulled out because it shoved the building, the roof of the building and the building over, and then this fell down on this side where I am. It was down more than a foot, almost crushed the building, and it was growing up over the roof. And, you know, even if you just want to get to an area, at some point you need a brush mower like that. So I showed that I had another motor. I have a couple of motors, actually, like a bunch of motors. But I just happen to have two out. I grabbed one
from the cleanup I did, over the past couple of weeks. So now I have, just in case, after I wash it and clean it, I'm going to throw a little, phosphoric acid down in there. The belt seems good. What's wrong with it mostly is that the engine seems a bit weak. So if it's really no good, I have another motor. And the cable is bad. There's one cable that's bad, and it's rusty, right? Yeah, so I have probably a better motor. So we're gonna bench. That's probably going to be the first thing after I clean it. I'm going to lightly pressure wash it, a little super clean just to get the grime out. Spray a little bit of phosphoric acid down in that cavity and let it sit. Leave it out in the yard while I'm cleaning and working on and doing stuff to the other machines. And when I'm all done with it, I'll kind of coat everything with phosphoric, maybe a little bit of wire wheel. We'll bring it back in, take a look at it, see if I can make a cable. I don't think you're going to be able to buy that cable, but that cable, you know what it looks like? It's a combination of a motorcycle bike cable on one end because it's got the regular handlebar pulls. But I did a video. I have a tool on how to make that end. Okay, so I actually have a tool on it. That was part of the Mikey's Mini Bike project. Actually, video did pretty good. So I could make that end. And the other end is basically like the spring style actuator for a lot of our lawnmowers, like front wheel drive and rear wheel drive. It's almost identical. It's just jammed. Everything is just jammed and a little bit old. The thing is made so well. This is why I say it probably did come over on the Mayflower. Now, I don't know if that motor, it's an auto choke motor. I don't know if it's an electronic motor or if it's a points motor. So we don't know. We're going to find out about that motor and about the other motors that I have, and we'll just pick the best. What did Robert say? I watched a video from Mr. Fix-It on the electronic parking brake system on the Toro ZTR mower. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Electronic parking brake system. Is that a ride-on? Hey, Uncle Mark. Mark, you missed the beginning. The intro is all mini bikes, right? It's like a mini bike intro. If I start streaming a little early and for people to come in, I wanted to put something a little bit more mellow on and whatever. That's the full intro, by the way, for the people that see it. And I'll be cutting it into pieces and shortening it and using it for other things. So when I grabbed it, because I like to grab stuff off the internet, when I grabbed it, I thought, well, what do you want to do? So, well, why don't I just grab the whole thing and I, put whatever music, make sure I'm not in any kind of, violation of copyright infringement, check on all of that, make it one big long thing, put it up this coming week, and then over time I can take it and shorten it, pull segments out of it, but I'll have it as one big piece that I've edited and tweaked the audio and the video, my little magic that I like to do. And I'll have it. And then from there, I can take that and cut it down to more appropriate sizes or use it for my bumpers or whatever. So I have pictures and I have other segments. And I want to do the same thing. Well, I've done something similar for tractors and mowers and you see bumpers or whatever. But it's nice to have one long segment that you can kind of cut down and use for other things. Because if it's short, if you got a bunch of short ones, sometimes it's much harder to kind of put them all together and make one longer thing. If you got one big longer one, you can cut it up into pieces. So, but a lot of people don't know why I do that. One, because I'm a small channel. I've been living for 2 years now, but I don't get a lot of live views. And not everybody, people are busy on Saturday night. Some people come back. But on the live shows, it might take people, like now, I think Mark just showed up. What is it? It's 9:22, so I started at 8:30. It's almost an hour ago. All right, so, sometimes it takes people a half hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes to come in, even when I start at 8:30. And they can't ask me, like, why do you have to run all of that? And some of you fellas have said, well, why don't you put on some music for us to listen to? Why don't you do this or do that? Like, well, we could just kind of put a bunch of different things together, and then as people come in, and usually at the beginning of the show, I kind of go, say hi to everybody and check everybody out, see what's going on, and then if I have a presentation, that comes about a half hour to an hour in, and the shows now, they used to run like 3 hours, but now they're an hour and a half to 2 hours. So next up, I want to show, as I was saying earlier, I want to show for TJ_M, my buddy TJ. It's the one that helps me out with all the great gear, right? I would be naked if it wasn't for TJ. So I think we can all say thank you to TJ for helping me out with clothing, because we don't want Arch to be naked, especially on a live, or maybe even worse, on a regular YouTube video. And as my friend Rob from upstate used to say to me, because they would come over here, him and Arth would come over here to jam back in the day a lot. He's like, because he's all the way upstate. He's like, I'm coming all the way from upstate. He's like, can you at least put a clean shirt on for me? Because I'm a guy. I'm a shop dog, right? I am a shop dog. I basically live in my shop, right? I'm an older guy now. I'm getting up there. I'm in the shop all the time. Even when I get, like, I just washed this, right? I don't think I had it on for like an hour. And the dog, I was having an issue with the dog, and I'm trying to get him to do something. And next thing I look down, and his snot went right across my arm. I got dog hair. I mean, the thing was like brand clean, like almost like right out of the dryer. Not even 10 minutes or whatever it is, and I'm already getting something on it. So anyway, TJM, like I said, he's got a very similar machine, and he had problems starting it because it can be very temperamental. So I'm going to run this segment for TJ, and if you guys don't like it, you can leave or whatever. I don't care. This is for TJ. This way I know coming into it, you know, it'll help TJ out. Let me find it. It's short. It's not that long. It's a nice machine. Nobody wanted it. Still out there. I had to bury it out there somewhere and cover it good. Let me find that. Let's see what I do with it. Let's minimize this. Let's see. Let me move you guys out of the way for a minute here. I'll cue it up. Clean up weekend. I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, let me cue it up. All right, I defueled it. I gotta move some windows around. Moving the windows. Let's move this back to here. View over to here. Put you up. He goes, first, oh, wait. Robert goes, it's a ride on zero turn. That's what I figured. Yeah, I definitely would like to get into some of the bigger stuff. Mark says, we had a Rupp mini bike in the late 1970s or early 80s. Yeah, same here. Yeah, I didn't see any Rupps, though, on that. I'll have to find some stuff on the Rupps. Brett goes, maybe show Roxy in a bit. She's been here since Monday evening, but hides until I go to bed. Nice. We'll see. I may not have the time. We're already in deep. See, Mark goes, sorry, I was tied up and could not make it at the start. Yeah, that's what I said. Like, a lot of people get tied up. So I do have, like, a general format for my live shows, you know. I try to. And when I bring it down to an hour and a half, I really have to have a more of a format. It's mostly just the beginnings, a little bit of time to hang out with the peeps and say hey, everybody, and then kind of clue you in as to what I want to do. But then towards the end, you know, I try to put something up and show you guys what I'm up to. And for me, it's kind of like a vlog as well, because I like to do it differently, and I want to do it differently than Ken, because he's already got the big show on Saturday. I'm not going to repeat that. I can't. That doesn't happen. So it was good to see he was back. And I pretty much watched the whole thing. All right, here we go. Make sure we're up. Put some air in the tires. Before I start it, we'll take the tank off. We'll pull that starter motor off that I want, because it didn't even sell for $250. What a nice machine. So I'm going to pull that starter motor, because I'm going to have to leave it outside. And, you know, probably on its back or something, or its face, rather. She looks good. I'm going to put it back together. We're going to put a little two-stroke in it, just a little bit, and then run it until she runs out of gas, just to coat everything. It's all
That's a good
ready to
idea.
go, but, you know,
You'll see it'll smoke a little.
All right, I'll see you in a minute. You see, this one I cleaned up nice. The markings there, I've already lubricated it in and out. That's the last one I have. These are the bigger ones for the bigger motors, and there's your hardware for it, right? bag this up, put this on the shelf for the Toro 826 because I've got two big motors, one with an extra shaft, camshaft on it, and I think one without, but they're like 10 horsepower. They're decent with a Toro 826. This way I have electric start, no issues. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll find out. Anyway, it's mine now. I got about 5 or 6 ounces of some nice old two-stroke. We'll throw that in there. Spill this in.
Yeah, I need
So
to
the
mix
guy
up some
gets
fresh.
this, he's going to get this thing's completely gone over, but I have, the starter motor, and, they're so cheap. Like, this guy, he can take one for the team. Taking it for the team, yeah. Ben Dover, take one for the team. But let me show my buddy TJ /_M. Hold on, let me set you up. All right, TJ. Now, I know it's windy out. You're going to hear some horror. All right, so it's off right now. Everything is off, and it's dead cold. Been sitting for months now. I don't know what it's been. So, choke to the right, full choke. Run, rabbit, run all the way up. Lots of primes. And if you see it pee out the bottom, that's good, right? Remember, there's no air filter. This is just a box. And if you want, you can spray starter fluid underneath here. And you know what? Maybe we'll go dead. Look, it's urinating. See, it's peeing. All right, let's start. Let's see what it does.
One pull.
Leave the choke for a bit.
See the two-stroke burning off?
Back down the throttle a little. About half choke. Let it run. Little less choke. Let it warm up. Choke off. It's running good. Leave it alone. Let it warm up. All right, let it do its thing. I'll be back. Choke off. We'll bring it down a little bit. No idle yet. All right, it's almost out of gas. I'll leave a little bit more in it, and I'll probably put a little bit in that one when we go to put them away, but this will have to be nestled outside somewhere. But this way I don't have to, we'll start this one and we'll do the same thing with this guy, because they haven't been running at all. So we'll just put this one away.
That's got electric start.
But that's for another day. I got to get the 826 out as well.
Yeah.
And this one's really hard to start, especially when it sits like it does. And I can't keep pulling these damn things. Pull it. No, you pull it.
Twist it. Pull it.
You pull it.
Twist it.
All right, I just pulled it out of the shed, and it's cold. It's March, and that thing's cold, and it's hard. It's beginning to get hard to pull backwards because it had a lot of use last year, especially with the cleanup.
Oh, it's even dirtier
A
now.
lot of leaves. I have a little bit of cleanup now to do. I want to grab some leaves and junk that's in here, grind it up, put it in a bag, get it dispersed into the garden, so when I rototill it in, it'll be there. I just checked the oil. It's okay. It needs, a fresh oil change. And it's full. You might see it. I can't tell in the sun and everything. It's too much glare. But she's not bad. Right? She didn't get like a ridiculous amount of use last year.
Yeah,
Let's
it
check
needs
the
a
air
change.
filter. As a matter of course, I'm going to clean it. We're going to clean out everything in the back. There's a plane going overhead. The adjusters and everything, because it just won't move until you relube it. Every 2 years I do it usually. Yeah, this was done a while ago. So that's good.
I like those. I want to get
And
more
it's
of
just a
those.
pre-filter.
The green Amazonas. They're decent.
I'll go blow that out, see? Let me go blow that out, and then we'll add some gas. Nice pre-filter. Just put it in here. It helps to blow all that out. Get one of these, and these are nice. This is the nice one I found on Amazon. I don't remember the links, fellas. I don't know what it is. I just keep looking for certain ones. I'm sure the gas in there is crap.
It's in one of my
Get some
carts
nice
or
gas
saved links or something. I don't know.
Remember now, that's your fuel gauge, right? About to here, that's your fuel gauge. If you bring it up too high, you're going to get fuel and filth and stuff into the cap. It's a charcoal cap. It's going to plug. The motor's not going to run right. Probably stall. All right, first start. Choke on. It's not going to electric start. Okay.
I pulled it fresh out of the storage. And it was cold too that day.
Let it run, and I'm gonna go do what I gotta do.
All right, let's see. So that's for TJ. If I can see what you guys are doing. Let me put this away. So it's not in my way. There you go, TJ. Hopefully that helps. And if he's not watching, I'll remind him tomorrow whenever I get around to it. That's the house and yard. And that's the other segments I was working on. And I don't need that. Let me see what you guys are saying, if you're saying anything. He goes, Uncle Mark goes, sorry, I was tied up. Oh, okay, yeah. And he says, hey, that's my snowblower. Yeah, you know, it's funny, too. Look, we're at an hour and like 10 minutes, so we're almost done. Last season, so that I did that big green snowblower, and that was 2 seasons ago. And usually it takes about a season or so for like a snowblower or something like that to actually be shown on YouTube. You know, maybe I get a handful of views, whatever, a couple hundred initially, and then, but nobody really watched it. I was surprised. Like that's a really nice machine. Maybe not that many people have it. So, Mark, which one are you talking about? The red one or the green one? That's starting to hurt. No, because I like those machines. Those are really nice. That big green one was the one I always wanted. I bought the smaller version of it with the 5 horsepower Takumi, and I was never happy with it. It would throw belts. It would eat up belts. And it didn't have the power. The belts would slip. It never had the power for our slushy snow here. It just never did. It was a new machine. It wasn't a terrible machine. I couldn't really afford the bigger variant. And after I sold it, I got it from somewhere, one of the bigger machines, some piece of crap, and I fixed it. And it was some of the first stuff on my channel. And I started using it. And I'm like, this is like the 8 to 10 horsepower on the bigger machines, even just with one belt on the auger. And I was in love. I'm like, what am I doing? So this year I didn't actually need the snowblower really because I just used the plow. But I won't look back. You know, for where I am, it's either 8 or 10 horsepower or it's not. And it's got to be a bigger, better machine because you can't use the small ones. Although I have that little, I got this, you might have saw it a little bit in the shed and I've shown it, it's on my channel. It's a little Arians. That I put another motor on and I went over it. It just needs a belt and it needs some tires or tire chains. And that is actually really good for just like a quick cleanup because it's a small machine. It's easy to use and it's vintage. It's mint. Hold on, I got to go take a leak. Let's see. Do I still have, what's the name? I'll put that on for a bit. Where is she? I just have to do a quickie. Let's see, where are we at? I got like 10 minutes left, right? Yeah, 10 minutes-ish. Something like that. Now I can have my little stub cigarette. This way I don't smoke too much. Let's see, what did Missy Maida said? Why did I show up at the wrong time? I don't know. I'm about ready to get out of here. He goes, why do people put the toilet paper roll in backwards? It doesn't. There's only 2 ways to put it, and everybody does it different, right? I say there are 2 types of people in this world. There are wadders and then there are folders. Which one are you? Right? There's only 2 types of people. That's the difference.
What the difference is, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. Either one can clog up the toilet if you use too much of it. Either way, right? I think one is like, I'm more of a folder, personally, myself. I pride myself on the proper number of folds. But it depends. When you buy the real economy toilet paper, that stuff is the worst. So yeah, I got my work cut out for me, depending upon what the weather is doing. So that's why I worked on my sister's pressure washer, and I think it'll be interesting to see, if it works and how well it works and what's going on with it. But it was jammed. So we'll talk about that when I do the video. And I don't know when that video will come out. That might come out pretty soon because it's not going to be a long video. It's not difficult to shoot. Some videos are harder to shoot than others. And then Big Mike's machine. And contractor Mike left that other machine. So at the time he left it, he's like, I'm good. You got me set up. And then today he was in a panic because the Time Master broke. He said he fixed it temporarily or something, or he fixed it. I don't know what happened to it. He panics. And then something's not right with the little Cub Cadet that I set him up with. And because there's something wrong with it. First of all, I said to him, it's a nice machine, but it's not really a contractor's machine. It's really a sort of a higher end homeowner's machine, and it's not going to hold up. So I think there's something else wrong with it. I don't know what it is. It's probably somewhere on the deck or the transport. And that might be a similar problem with that SUTEC. It might have some stuff on it that is just kind of like B grade, and it's not really for full-time use. There's going to be problems with that stuff. And if I was like Johnny, I would have, a turret mill press or something. I need that. I need something. It doesn't have to be all that big. It doesn't have to be like super professional. I've been poking around, but I need to make more money and put some money away in order to be able to afford that. And I need to clean up in here and get the lighting set up and figure out, well, where the hell would I put, even if it was small machine shop tooling, where would I put it? Like right now, currently, I don't have a place. So that also needs to be solved. So that's another reason why I've been cleaning up. And then that last two-stroke machine that I'm just not, even if they're older, unless it's a lawn boy, honestly, especially the consumer grade stuff, it's just not worth it. In fact, I taught Mike, I spent the day with him one day, and he brought over all of his Husky Varnies weed whackers. And I showed him how to fix them and what goes wrong with them and how you can noodle around with them to see if you can keep them going. Because it's just not, we spent like a day, and I'm like, Mike, what do you think I can charge you for this? He went, uh-oh. I said, this is exactly what I mean. I cannot get what I need to get out of all of this. And you were helping, which in a way he kind of was helping. It's just a waste of time. I said, and look at some of them. They did not come back. So, and it's hard to tell exactly which one will or won't when the machine is together. Because if any of the seals leak, which you can't see when the machine's assembled, and you're going to take the whole thing apart, that's insane. It's, unfortunately for a contractor, even if you buy better stuff, eventually that will happen to it as well, right? Seals will go bad. But some of the stills and whatever, like my still, when they're really expensive in the first place, you can see maybe if you can do it, maybe give it to a mechanic over the winter when they're slow and let it kick around, and they can work on it a little bit here and there and make it worth their while and make it worth the contractor's while. But the homeowner stuff, it's just garbage. It's just absolute garbage. Mate, are you still here? I wanted to show you something. I want to see if my audio is any good today. Because I put that different sound card in. So before I get out of here, because I want to leave in a couple of minutes, like less than 10 minutes. He goes, Bud, hey, Bud. He goes, so I just want to show you guys real quick. So I put a different sound card in, and now I'm plugged. It's actually very convenient. I'll show you the sound card in a minute. So it has a front audio. It's basically an audio interface is what they call them today. Some of them are USB. You can just plug them right into USB. This is PCI, so it goes right into the computer motherboard. But what's nice is I can set it up and use it the way I would normally use it with my speakers, which I was fooling around with that. And because of the front panel audio thing, I bought an extension, just a nice long extension. And it just kind of, well, the desk is a mess, but you guys get the idea, right? Right now, it's just laid across my desk because I was testing it. And when I plug it in, you know how like when you plug in headphones into, most things, it cuts the speakers out? Well, yeah, it does. Now the speakers are still connected and everything, but it disconnects it like internally. And I don't have to fumble with Windows settings. And the OBS software that's over here, and I don't have the other camera on, but the OBS software that I use for recording videos and doing live shows and other stuff, it doesn't care. There's no changes to it. So I don't have to change that. So there's no change there. And if I unplug it, my speakers come back. So, and I noticed last week, because my audio was overmodulating and it was just too loud and too raspy, and this isn't the right mic. It's a very, it's a high performance, high gain mic. So it's really for like in the shop or outside. It's not for doing live shows. It's not for recording this close. But it was too breathy and mouth sounds. And, when you're a diabetic, sometimes your mouth gets dry and you make mouth sounds. That's kind of new. You can't help it, right? Issues. This stupid thing is too much gain, so it'll pick up all those horrible sounds. It's not what, most people use. Usually they use something like expensive, right? And I was looking around, I found some stuff. So all of that, right, got changed. And because it's a newer sound card, which is like the Sound Blaster Live, even though it's an older one, it's much better. Like the quality is better. I had to retune it. It's louder because it's got more gain. And I just wanted to show you guys this, and just particularly Mater. So let me just cue it up real quick, and that'll fill out the last like 5 or 10 minutes. I put it in and I tested it. I was like, yeah, this is nice. Geez, I've had this thing around forever. Let me find it. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. I'm just going to scroll through it. You can see the inside. So when I was watching Ken's show the other day. I think it was last Sunday or something like that. Klaus. I am Klaus! Well, I gotta play that. Klaus got a new computer, and he was like, this heatsink is so big. I'll show you heatsink. Hold on.
Klaus, thank you.
I am Klaus.
I am Klaus.
I am Klaus. I am Klaus.
I am Klaus. Hold on, let me turn that off. We'll go to the right monitor. What's Jamie say? And he goes, why do people put the toilet paper roll in backwards? Bro, because I've heard that K&N makes air filters for mowers. Really? Hey, Bud, matey, yeah, it's Jamie O. The problem a contractor has is numbnut who puts the high-end whacker under the truck and forgets he put it under the truck until numbnuts tries over the high-end whacker. Brutal having employees. Oh, my God. Yes, they still do make Sound Blaster. Hold on, I got to come back and tell you guys the story. Hold on. So, I'll come back. Where am I? I gotta reduce the number of little tabs on here. So when I was young, well, my friend Arthur used to call me Lawn Boy. Well, I had a lot of lawn boys and cutting lawns and doing all that stuff, right? So I learned a lot about mechanics and everything from a very young age, working, of course, on lawnmowers and everything. And I started cutting lawns, right, to make money. And then, with music and everything else and being young, we were hanging around all these people and meeting all these people. And I knew a lot of people that were older than me as well. And this one older fella, he was getting married. And so his new father-in-law-to-be wanted him out of his business, wanted this young dude to give up his business to go into the new family business. So what was the business? So this fella, I don't remember his name, he had a contracting business. And he asked me if I wanted to buy it. And one of the things that I had wanted for on and off over the years, especially in those days, I'm like, well, I'm young now, so I can fix all of these machines, and I'll learn how to fix the ones I don't know how to fix. And then I'll take over the business, and I'll run the contracting business, lawn contracting, cutting, and all that. And I can fix all the machines, and I'll get help, and I'll build the business up. And it's just a working business. And he was like, he's like, I need 15, I want 30 grand for the business. I want 15 up front, like basically cash check money order, right? So I asked my father if he could help me out. He said, no, he wanted me to go to school. So I went to school, but that didn't work out either, right? Because all of the companies that I trained for, they all left the island, because of Clinton, NAFTA, and GATT. And all of that, and everybody's got all these tariffs that we don't have, and it makes it super expensive to fucking make anything here, right? And really cheap to import it from everywhere else. Does it sound familiar? I've been screaming about this since that, because I lost every effing job that I ever wanted because of that crap. So I don't want to hear anybody tell me, oh, the tariffs are no good. So, all right, I won't rant anymore. That's a rant. So I was working for the fella, and I was actually working for him. I wanted to check out the business, and all of that. And I was working for a little while. And somebody forgot to hang a really nice weed trimmer up on, because, everything goes on a rack, right? Somebody forgot to hang it up there. Everybody loads on. Now, in those days, a lot of us would ride with the grass in the back. All right, you'd ride. Basically they were dump trucks, and you'd ride with the grass in the back. That's where we didn't have seatbelt laws and all that. We had to go back looking for it because it either fell off, it wasn't locked on properly, or it fell off, or I don't know, it wasn't picked up. I don't know. Maybe I did it. I don't remember doing it. I wasn't the weed whacker guy, but I didn't know all their routines, but that did happen. No one ran it over, but I have seen that. In fact, my still line trimmer, when Mikey first gave it to me, it was at the dump, but it had this wicked bend in it, like this. It was pretty bad. And I actually bent it back. I went over the whole machine. Every year I give it a kiss and a lick, and a pet on its butt, and I use it, and it starts up. So like the better equipment, even if you're a contractor, I don't know about running it over. Sorry, bro. Those are accidents. Accidents are accidents. See, Bud says, yeah, so they do something. It doesn't, Brett goes, it doesn't matter how the toilet paper is installed. Pull off a piece, fold it as needed, wipe your ass, boom, you're done, right? Matey goes, shop talk with Brett, I prefer toilet paper over a toilet brush. Bud goes, you're absolutely right. I grew up where Delco Remy was located. Ghost town for now. Depression there still. Yup. That's another reason why I won't buy it like Husqvarna or anything, because typical European globalist bullshit. They came over here, they bought into all the local stuff in the different towns, and then acquired like other companies, built it up, and then they moved to Mexico, and everybody's out of a fucking job. I'm done with all of that, right? I'm done participating in that nonsense. That's why I know so many different things. Why? Because every time I try to get a job in something, boom, you're out, get out, right? No more of you. Now, Long Island, the biggest industry here is the medical industry, and everybody is sick. And if you want to make money, you better be in the medical industry. Or you have to be like a roofer or a plumber. But plumber is hard to get into. That's a good job. I do know plumbing, but that's a good job. Electrician, stuff like that. But not everybody can do that. It's funny, Bud goes, funny, Husqvarna always repelled me. Now I know why. Yeah. Yeah, horrible. I could go on and on about this. I don't want to make too big a thing of it, but this is what's been going on. And I used to scream about it. I remember I told the story. When that happened, I was on the front lawn of my friend Steve, talking to his father, telling him about how this is going to screw me and everybody else. And he had just started a business doing air compressor and air systems for industry, mostly hospitals and stuff. And he was working out of his truck. He'd worked for a big company, but now he was off on his own. And years later, I remember before he sold the company, going in, he bought a big Lexus building or whatever, or Saturn. I think it was the Saturn building when they went out. Do you want to know why? And because you can't sell them to anybody because they have such high tariffs. But, Orange Man bad. And he's pulling his hair out. He's like, this whole thing is killing me. I got to get out of this business. I told you years ago, God rest his soul now. I told you years ago this was a problem. Oh, he had to learn the hard way. But fortunately, he had something to sell. And it set him up and his family up. And a Canadian company came in and put pressure on. They bought out partially. I think the story was he told me was they kind of bought into that and then they didn't do anything with it. Right? This is another technique that they do. They come in, they buy up our little companies, and instead of growing the business or taking care of the people, they put it out of business to suppress the market in one area so that you now have to buy from a Canadian company where the tariffs are all on their side and not on our side. I'm done. Let's get to the next step. And then we'll get out of here. Need I say more? But no, that's not the... Here we go. Yeah, I want to show Mater. Here's the computer down here real quick. We'll just breeze through it. All right, now before I pull the grills off and move everything out of my way and blow and shut everything down, let's just listen. Hear it? That's that amp that I have. That's that stupid Panasonic amp I threw in. So that's about acceptable. And our volume knob I got it down a little bit. I got rid of some of the noise. Here? All right, let's move to the next thing. All right, so now the computer's off. Yeah, I made it a little bit better. There's the XFI in there. So I got the Sound Blaster sound card installed, and it's in one of the black blue slots. So that would be a 16X slot. What we want to see is what it does to the bus. We can see here it's doing 64 by 120, PCI 16 by 3.0 at 16 by 1. And I'll run a test. I want to make sure it's running at full bus speed. Now let's go do a render test. And a lot of times it'll pop up. Yeah, see? 3.0. Yeah, so it's running at the correct speed. So it's not affecting that. So we can use it, which is good. That's technical stuff. Here's the front interface. All right, so this is it. This is the XFI head end. And I don't know what that was for. I think that was for CDs or something. I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was for the CD player. I had some issues with some of the wiring, so we're going to have to be careful with it. I did solder it. I don't remember which end it was. Just going to wipe this off. And there should be just about enough room to get it up into there, that one spot. So that's a heat sink. I'm going to install that. That's actually a Noctua heat sink. I think that's made... I want to say the Netherlands or something. Yes, if I hear. So that's my audio interface. The other things are on the very bottom. That's not even the biggest one they offer. USB-C, but it's not the right one. I need a double. It's only a single. Then we have two very fast M.2 drives. NVMEs. And there's one slot open, but that would cover over the main fan. Well, this is about as blowed out. Usually every year I try to clean it. I take it all apart, but we're not doing that today. Arrow's done. Yeah, that's big. Well, that's not as clean as I'd like it, but blowed out. We installed there, put a tie wrap over here to secure that connection. Looks good inside. And it just kind of comes down. I had to reorganize a little bit, but it went right in. Comes out here. Plenty of hard drives. So this way it doesn't hit the fan. Huge ones. And I'm going to give it one last blow. It's tied here. This is holding up the video card. And so I think we're pretty good. The only thing I would replace is this card with a dual. I wanted the dual originally. That's a USB-C adapter. It's a little slower, right? It halves it, but that's fine, right? It's already USB. You could probably shove one up in there, but I don't know what that might change the speed of the video card. So yeah, we're kind of tight on that. You can only put so many add-on cards in. Filter that's underneath there because it's sucking from underneath. And then here's the interface, nice top USB there. Our interface here. There's your mic volume. Hopefully all that works. It was in a box, so it shouldn't be too bad. Maybe wipe that with a little bit of WD and a Q-tip. Maybe I'll do that now, and then we'll put it back together. I think it's just some pics real quick. Yeah, it cleaned up nice. There's the filter for the side and the front. Because it gets dirty in here. All right. So this helps cool the back of the CPU. And so that's the front, obviously. And then this is an actual air conditioner style filter, which I just cleaned. A little super clean. Super clean. You can filter the air, just, filter it to some degree. I made a grill for it, and the filter I just washed, and it's over by the heater drying. That just kind of snaps on the front because it's a shop and it gets dirty in here. All right, let's install this. All right, we're done. Let me come back and say goodbye. So I had my little rant. Why is it you guys somehow I get to rant? It's good stress reliever. Some people probably hate me for some of the rants that I say. Oh, you're an idiot. You don't know any better. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Right, Robert says, let's see, Jimmy. Oh. Budowski goes, I love tariffs. Brett goes, if I never do a two-stroke for a customer again, it'll be too soon. Yeah, I'm done. Because our customers largely, Bud goes, yeah, they shaft the business, and yeah. Brett goes, the Husqvarna trimmers suck airy balls. Yep. The customers, the customers that are contractors, they're hard on their machines, but they at least get the mix right. They care because they make their money through this stuff. They care. The consumer, homeowner, doesn't know, generally speaking, they don't care. They don't know anything. They don't put it away. They don't take care of it. And with an old Briggs flathead, Briggs says you can get a Briggs flathead down to about 40 PSI. And I've seen that. You can pull it and it'll pretty much start. You need scored, valve recession, all kinds of. Two strokes, you cannot tolerate any of that. Like, they just can't tolerate it. Once they get to like 100 PSI or a little bit below, they're done. They're done. Unless you want to rebuild it, and I don't see the point, especially with consumer machines, because the consumer machine wasn't expensive, even when times were better, and we, in relation to the cost of living, we may have had more money, even if your salary only went up a little bit in the past 4 or 8 years or whatever it's been. Most people, it hasn't gone up at all. And honestly, in this business, what I'm finding is, again, low man on the totem pole, people still want, they still want pricing from 4 to 8 years ago. Like, they want you to make less, because they don't have the money. So you're having to either hold your prices when you really should be raising them, or you have to drop your price. So if you're not working for a contractor and you're working for a consumer with the consumer grade shit that's out there, you're losing your shirt. It's not worth it. It's actually come to that where the margins are so tight and so thin, you can't raise your prices, but everything around you is being raised, and you want to raise your price, but then nobody will buy it. So for consumer level stuff, I keep saying it, it's done. It's pretty much just about over. If you have some customers, great. If you can get some contractors, because people that have money will hire contractors. People who have money aren't going to want to buy their consumer grade stuff. They might have something laying around. I know a lot of them fire the contractors and they come to me and they go, I need to buy something because I can't afford the contractor anymore. I get a lot of that. But again, the prices have to be much lower, or I can't raise them when I need to raise them. So the only thing I can think of to do is just eliminate. I just won't take anything that is questionable, that I don't like, because I cannot afford the time to put into something that maybe will give me a return of a few bucks. It's bad. I have to try to figure out how to focus on something that I might actually make a little bit of money on. I don't have the luxury. People starting out today, if you have a decent job and you want to fool around with stuff, go ahead. Best way to learn. If it's broken, the nice thing is you can't make it worse. Even if you did make it worse, who cares? So you could learn. And maybe you can get to the point where, if you're just starting out, where you can sell something and, learn how to do it more quicker and faster and get more tools or whatever and have a fun hobby and make a few bucks. That's nice. That you can probably still do. I don't see why not. But you're going to be you're going to have to understand it. You're going to have to put time in to learn. So you can't make money on that, really. But if you already know, a lot or something of what you're doing or what have you, then you're agonizing over taking some of this stuff in because it's like, what the hell am I going to do with this? This thing's going to consume my time, my resources. Good luck. Turn the lights on, turn the air compressor on, right? Turn the heat on. And what does that cost you for the day? And you're going to make $50? It's not worth it. You might as well go find something else to do. So that's why I like some of the other equipment, right? Because it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat. At least even if it's just winds up hobby oriented and you make a few dollars on it, at least you're having fun. You're not frustrated. Jimmy was got a call from one of my guys, got in a little accent, learned not to waste my time by asking what happened just because I just hear lies. Truck was totaled. Oh, I'm sorry to hear, bro. That's not good. Robert goes, your mic might pick up when you fart. Yes, hopefully. Mr. Somebody, hey, brother. How much do you have invested into this PC? Oh, I don't know. I've built it over the years. Mater goes, Arch, I ordered a new toy for the other garage. Oh, nice. More lighting or tools or something. That would be good. Yeah, I don't know. That PC, all of this stuff, a lot of it I got on discounts. But PC stuff is so expensive. It's like everything today. Everything is just ridiculous. The PC stuff, when you want new, I mean, I would like to build a new machine, something a little bit faster that can handle a lot of what I'm doing because this thing is on the bitter edge. At some point you run out of resources, whatever, or it slows things down, or you can't just do what you want to do. You look at the pricing for like something really nice, something decent. It's thousands of dollars. It's not hundreds anymore. It's like the high-end video cards are 500 and up. Way up, double, more. It's just gotten crazy. Let's see, where are we at? It's just gotten crazy. But, no big deal. We'll just borrow it. Oh, good. We're at an hour 43. All right, fellas. Thanks for watching tonight, hanging out. I think we'll call it an hour 43, a little bit over the hour and a half, but that's fine. Thanks for coming in, checking out what's going on with Arch's Garage and whatever the hell it is I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. Big shout out to Mike, because Big Mike, and also Contractor Mike, but we'll be working on that cutter machine that does this, right? I think that thing is so cool. He's going to like it. I'm going to have fun working on it. And some of the other stuff too, those green lawnmowers, those are nice, right? Those will be fun. Young Mike just sold a couple of those. I saw him. He had a few out on Facebook Marketplace. So he knows because they last longer. They're easy to fix. They don't break the same way, cables and stuff. So I need to order some cables, some plugs, some filters, and a few other things. And I got to get to Contractor Mike because he's got something wrong with this machine that I told him wasn't going to hold up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for stopping in.